Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take.
And on today's Unbiased Hard Take, me and JB, wildcard weekend is over. And what a great wildcard weekend it was to be a Packers fan. Unfortunately for the Steelers, JB's team did not get to advance. However, I do want to clap for JB's team. They did make the playoffs. They had a good season. I'll kind of get into a little bit more facts with them later in a different topic. So, good job, Steelers. Had a good year, made the playoffs. I mean, it's still a good season. JB's not clapping. I'm sure JB has some things to say. So with that, JB, what is one thing you want to talk about from the wild card weekend?
Well, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to talk about the Steelers and the Buffalo game.
Oh, I figured.
The refs was out to get us that game. Literally out to get us. Fans were throwing snowballs during the middle of the plays. That should have been unsportsmanlike conduct. Literally almost every play they were throwing balls when we were close to the end zone. I mean, it was literally uncalled for. Like I'm sorry, Bills fans, but you're atrocious. You're probably one of the worst fan bases known to man. All because you can get snow, you can start throwing snowballs at opposing teams. So you guys are literally scumbags for all that. And on secondly, our defense played like horrible. And clearly it's because one, our main star player, TJ Watt, was not there because he was injured. But out of all the gist of it, I think we couldn't tackle. I mean, literally, Josh Allen fake sliding. That clearly caused one of the touchdowns, one of the 56-yard touchdown that he had, for that through that fake slide. Which to me, I mean, it's whatever. We should have still tackled him anyways, but you know, when we're trying to protect the quarterback, we can't hit them when they're going down for a slide. So that's why a majority of the players stopped what they were doing because they thought we were going to slide, and then he went out anyway. So I mean, that should have been called for something. But you know, it wasn't because it was Buffalo. Because it was Buffalo. And then when he was going down, and Miles Jack decided to hit him. I mean, good job, Miles Jack. You know, good job for hitting him. You should have hit him 10 times more harder. Hopefully, he wouldn't get off the ground at that point. The way that the way that the whole entire Bills team and the refs officiated that game, it was stupid. Literally. And the fan base, you could screw off too, for all I care. Like I said, it was horrible to watch. We were arm tackling. Minka Fitzpatrick, you literally arm tackled somebody and clearly whiffed at it. That caused one of the touchdowns. So clearly you wanted to be out of the game or out for the season. To me, that's what it felt like, even though you had 10 total tackles, five solos. But really nothing happened. Joey Porter also left in the middle of the game. Like I said, it was stupid. And then Presley Harvin, he's got to go. He's out of here. I don't want to see him on my field anymore. But Mason Rudolph, you did a really good game. You went 22 for 39, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. You led us through so many games, and really thank you for that. And yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the Buffalo Bills stats because honestly, it was the way that you guys played. It was uncalled for. And like I said, Bills organization, Bills fan bases, screw off. Literally scumbags. I hope you lose next game, which you will.
Which me and JB will get into very soon. Right now, I'm letting JB go on his rampage because yes, making the playoffs is great in Pittsburgh. It's great to stay relevant. The playoffs is a big accomplishment. It is, but that's not the standard in Pittsburgh. You can't just
Nope.
make the playoffs. You gotta win Super Bowls, and they're not right now.
But with everything, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the full stats here. I'm gonna look at our penalties. We had 6 to their 2. And clearly, there was plays that I've seen that they were holding, unsportsmanlike conduct from the fans, throwing snowballs at players. Even the announcers seen it, but yet the refs did nothing. So, refs, go screw yourselves, kindly. Because honestly, we should have been at the 1-yard line at that point. And because that was literally uncalled for. What I seen and they didn't do anything. I was shocked. I was literally dumbfounded that this is the game that we're playing. So hopefully in the next winter, and it's in Pittsburgh, if we throw snowballs, guess what happens? Oh wow, it's gonna be a flag. Shocker. And yet fans were also throwing snowballs at our bench. Literally at our bench. And yet nothing was even called during that either. So, whatever. Bills fans, I don't care what you do, what you did in the past for helping do these fundraisers and everything. No. No. That wasn't for your kind heart. Get out of here for that stupid. Ugh.
And it's good to get it out. You got to get it out, man. You got to get it out. It's hard losing in the playoffs. It's frustrating.
Yeah. It's just the way that the refs handled everything, and it was literally uncalled for. It was probably one of the worst officiating ever that the Steelers had to face. And once again, everyone's gonna say, "Oh well, Steelers fan complaining about the refs." Honestly, my mother could even officiate better than what these guys can do.
I'm sure we would all pay good money to see that. I will end on this. Also, I will give you this. That lack of pass interference or defensive holding on George Pickens was ridiculous. George Pickens even said that you can't play Buffalo and the refs. He said it.
Nope.
That's where I kind of refer to. And JB over there spitting facts. He gave you the penalties statistics himself. So, is that where you leave it? Let us know. Do you think the referees were in favor of the Bills? Let us know in the comments below. JB says yes. I will say.
I mean, there's no way of hiding it because, I mean, if you watch the replays, I mean,
I don't think the NFL rigs games. I don't think that at all. I think the referees just simply are ignorant and suck. That's what I think. So with that, while JB was somber, and I won't end on this. Steelers made the playoffs. Steelers had a double-digit winning season. They won with 3 different starting quarterbacks at some point, so they had a lot of turbulence
should have
on
been
the
2.
quarterback position. Right, should have been 2, but it was 3. They started all year long, so for them to still be able to make the playoffs, get double-digit win season, hats off to Pittsburgh. We'll see you next season. So with that, I am going to obviously talk about the Green Bay Packers not only defeating the Dallas Cowboys, not even defeating, humiliating the Dallas Cowboys. Final score 48-32. I mean, you look, man. Jordan Love. I'm gonna start like this. Ready? Head coach Matt LaFleur, to our general manager Brian Gutekunst, and even you, Joe Barry. Even you, Joe Barry. Jordan Love. A lot of people didn't even have the Packers in the playoffs. We had to win our last 3 games and get help to even get in, and we were able to do that. We had a rough stretch in our schedule. We were able to beat the Chiefs, beat the Lions in the process. So we are a year ahead of schedule. I thought I was hopeful at the beginning of the year to make the playoffs. I had him in my preseason picks. You did too. But I didn't expect us to win a playoff game. We are a year ahead of schedule and playing with house money. We could go into San Francisco and get thrashed 58-10, and no one's going to care. People are going to be like, "Oh, Green Bay had a great year." But it's not about that. It's about competing for championships. We beat Dallas and we weren't supposed to. And I think we have a chance to beat San Francisco. I won't reveal my pick. I'll explain that later. But Jordan Love, I'm telling you right now he is a top 10 quarterback in the league. At least he's playing like one. Because he went out there against that Dallas defense. 16 for 21, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then Aaron Jones did whatever he wanted. 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. I watched that entire game. Darnell Savage had a pick 6. Jai Alexander had an interception. We'll see if he plays this week. He got injured again, unfortunately. He's almost like the Packers version of Bob Sanders at this point. He's great when he plays, but it gets frustrating. Anyways, so you look, that Packers touchdown, it was to Luke Musgrave, if I recall. Yes, it was. It was to Luke Musgrave. No one within 15 yards of him. How does that happen? It's Dan Quinn's unstoppable Cowboys defense. It's the Cowboys. They're always going to go into the playoffs and choke. They were like 16-0, I believe it is. Their last total games at home. They haven't lost in that many games. And then we go in there, the youngest team to make the playoffs since the 70s, and thrash them. It's not by accident. They choked.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we had a chance to win, but to win by that amount of points, that score, it wasn't even close. That whole game wasn't even close. So to lose by that much, they just, I'm going to say it, they shit the bed. The Cowboys flat out shit the bed.
And I agree, especially with everyone saying it's like, "Oh wow, it's like 48-32. That's not much." Honestly, they scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. Look how many, look at all the points that they scored in the first 3 quarters though. It was horrible for Dak and for the whole entire Dallas Cowboys team. Like, it's like, yes, you see the stats. Dak went 403 yards. He went 41 for 60, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And Pollard ran for 1. Jake Ferguson caught for 3. CeeDee Lamb wasn't even, he did good. He's like had 9 catches for 110 yards, but he was targeted 17 times. And everything else was like, and Micah Parsons didn't even show up. Like literally, he didn't do anything. He had 1 QB hit. That was it. He had 2 tackles and only 1 solo. He was non-existent through that whole entire game. So for being a defensive player of the year candidate, didn't do anything. And I bet you money if TJ Watt wasn't hurt, he would probably got sacks and he would probably gotten done something against that Buffalo Bills offense. But you know what? He was injured. So be lucky.
And, you know, that's fair. Because the Steelers' record without TJ Watt is a losing record, but they're far better with him. The stats prove it. But you look like you said, yeah, the stats for the Cowboys were good. They had 510 total yards. That beats Green Bay's 415. Here's the thing, though. They got all those yards after they were already down by like 20 points. It's
Almost
garbage
over
time.
30.
You're getting right. You're getting all of those when you're down by 30 points in the fourth quarter and you get a 25-yard completion. Oh, big deal! You got a 25-yard completion. Who cares? You're down by 20 points. That's where that comes from. The stats, if you watch the game, it wasn't even close from the start to the finish. You knew who was winning the game immediately.
Yeah.
And with
Because
that,
with the first three
go ahead, finish up.
quarters,
Finish up.
the first 3 quarters of that game, they only scored 16 points out of Packers 20 plus 7 plus 14. 41! So yeah, they literally it's our year. Get out of here.
It's always your year.
Your
We
year
them boys.
always your year to lose the first game of the playoffs.
And with that, I let JB finish that one up. That was a good one. So with that, me and JB are going to move on to divisional week, and the Packers are still going. We made the playoffs. We've won a playoff game, and there's 2 games to the Super Bowl, and we are still in it. We are still in the thick of things. Can't believe I'm saying that. It's divisional weekend, and the Packers play football this weekend. That's an amazing feeling. But sad part is, as the season gets more exciting and closer to the Super Bowl, there are less games to predict. Sad times. But as you can't see it anymore because it's not on our screen because the DoorDash competition is over. So you look, me and JB, you follow us. We're 4-2, both of us. We had some different ones, but me and JB both had a 4-2 week in the wild card last weekend. So we want to predict the divisional. Nothing on the line here, but we're still want to predict it. We'll play for pride at this point. So with that, JB, the first wild card game tomorrow. Who you got? The Houston Texans, who shocked the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens. Who do you got going to the AFC Championship game?
Honestly, I don't think it was shocked. Just Browns were just horrible.
You got me on that one. I had Cleveland. I was wrong. So props to JB on that.
This one is really to me. This one is in the air because you got both off.
Really?
Both teams are explosive. They're all Houston Texans offense is explosive. And the Baltimore Ravens is also explosive. And and to me, their defense is almost the exact same. Literally the exact same. So I mean it's but I gotta probably gonna give it to Baltimore. Just because they have an experienced coach. And I'm not saying anything bad about Houston in any mean necessary, but I just feel that the Houston has a better coaching than what the Texans have. And even though
Baltimore's better coached.
Baltimore is better coached. Even though that Houston went 10-7, they have a rookie head coach, and is amazing head coach, by the way. He is an amazing head coach. He brought Houston like way up there in less than a year. And everyone said that it's a rebuilding year for them. And I and I thought so too. And so yeah, it's it's amazing what he's doing. But I feel like the Ravens is just better coached, and Lamar is smart when it comes to passing the ball and running the ball at the exact same time because he can do both. There was one I remember a few years ago that when we talked about Lamar, that said he can only run this and that, blah 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 blah. And like he can't throw. And 1 year he decided not to throw, or he didn't run. He barely ran. He just stayed in the pocket and threw the ball. And it was phenomenal. And he can do both. So
That was his second year in the league, I think, when he had 36 touchdowns.
yep. That was the second year where he did not run. He barely ran the ball.
Oh, but he did. He had over 1,000 rushing yards also. That was the insane part.
Yeah, but if we're looking at the attempts that year, barely ran.
Okay.
But he passed like phenomenal. So I'm gonna give it to Baltimore.
You know, me and you are 100% on the same page here. I actually personally, for the fun of it, I'm rooting for Houston. As a
Mm-hmm.
fan of football, they've never made the AFC Championship game. I've said it many times. I'll say it one more time. The Houston Texans, me and you remember when they were founded. We had a lot of fun playing with them on Madden. They were new to the league, kind of cool,
Yep.
flashy and new. It was cool. We watched them from the ground up. From the ground up, they've never been in the AFC Championship game, so I would like to see that. But I 100% agree with you. I think this game will actually be closer than some think. I think Houston will play better, but lose by about 7 to 10. I think they'll pull away late. Baltimore will. But like you said, CJ Stroud's absolutely the rookie of the year. But you look, Lamar is probably going to be the league MVP. I don't think he should be. We'll get into that at a later date when we make our season award predictions. But you look, I can't deny Lamar's had a great year. 3,678 passing yards on top of 821 rushing yards, 24 pass touchdowns, and he's added 5 on the ground as well. He's played very, 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 very efficient football, completing 67.2% of his passes. And he has the Ravens as the number 1 seed in the AFC. Ain't denying none of it. John Harbaugh comes from the special teams side of the ball. He's one of the only head coach that comes from the third phase that everyone forgets about. Speaking of that, the Ravens are top 10 in offense, the Ravens are top 10 in defense, and the Ravens are also top 10 total this year in NFL on special teams. I have it right here in front of me. So they're top 10 in all 3 sides phases of the ball. They don't have a weak spot. Their defense is playing elite football. They
Mm-hmm.
took the Triple Crown home this year. Not the number 1 total rated defense, but I they took the Triple Crown. Took the entire Triple Crown this year. That Ravens defense is elite. Lamar's probably the league MVP. Now, the only thing that worries me, they haven't played, their starters haven't played in almost 3 weeks because they had the first round bye and they rested their starters against Pittsburgh the final game of the year. I think in football especially, rust matters. Rust absolutely matters. You don't play for a while, we've seen it. Happened to the Packers when they had a first round bye against the Giants one year with Aaron Rodgers. We had that first round bye when we were 15-1 in 2011, and we went out there against the Giants and we crapped the bed. Resting hurts you sometimes. You need to stay in the game flow. You keep your hot hand. I worry about a little bit of rust with the Ravens, but I trust Baltimore. And they better win. And you know why I say that? Because Lamar's playoff record's 1-3. We give Dak Prescott a hard time for his playoff failure. What about Lamar? He's won 1 playoff game. He loses here. He's the AFC's Dak Prescott. I mean, 1-3 in the playoffs. He's a league MVP. You gotta do better than that. It's no different than Dak.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Baltimore though. I trust Lamar. I think he's a top quarterback. Give me the Ravens. Okay. Oh yes. My favorite time of the week because the Packers play football this weekend. Woo! Divisional round. Here we come. With that is our arch nemesis. Oh, I'm so tired of losing to the Niners in the playoffs, Jordan. So tired of losing to the Niners in the playoffs. Oh, so who do you got? The Green Bay 11 Packers at the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, it's that San Fran. It's that Levi Stadium.
Still weird to me. It'll always be Candlestick Park in my heart.
Yeah, me too. But honestly, I think that the curse is still going to be living. It's going to be a shootout, though. It is going to be a shootout against Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. It's going to be a massive shootout. Not like Dak Prescott, but San Francisco's defense is a lot better than Dallas Cowboys. I can tell you that. A lot better. And with the Packers defense, I mean, the Packers defense did a phenomenal job against the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give them that. Joe Barry, he did really good. You know, good job, Joe Barry.
I'll give credit when it's due. I will.
But you have to face. You got to stop 3 people. Maybe 4. Yeah, 4. I'll put Ayuk in there. So you have to stop.
Absolutely.
You have to stop 4 people at once. Christian McCaffrey. I'm gonna say he's an MVP candidate.
Oh, he is.
You got Debo. I want to say he's a hybrid.
He is. He's kind of like a. I'm not saying Jaden Reed is Debo Samuel, but they use him like Jaden Reed. He's kind of that flex. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk. Oh, who's gonna be my? And then you got George Kittle. Even though technically George Kittle really hasn't been like shown, but he's there because you know he's there. He's gonna be there. Because if you don't lock him up, guess what? He's gonna have over 100 yards, and with multiple touchdowns. I mean that's how it is. But defensive players have been doing really good at locking him up. Barely been getting the ball. He's a great run. He's a great run tight end. Run blocking tight end. But you got Brandon Ayuk. You got Debo. You got Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey can do it all. And then heck, y'all say 5. You gotta stop Brock Purdy too. So.
Oh yeah, Brock Purdy's a very good quarterback. Yes.
He is a very good quarterback. So. I mean he's just. I don't think the Packers defense can stop those 5 people. I don't think they can, and that's their whole entire offense right there. And it's one heck of an offensive scheme that they have.
I know, and you're right.
And I feel like the Packers defense cannot stop option plays. I don't think they can.
Well, this is going to be an interesting game because are you familiar with Matt LaFleur? Are you familiar with Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan's history together?
Kind of.
They all come from the Sean McVay area. They all coach together. So Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur all come from the same offense because they all coached together on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Matt LaFleur was the quarterback's coach. So their offenses are exactly the same almost. Obviously, different language, different verbiage, some tweaks here and there, but it's ultimately the same offense. So they know the offense of the other team.
Mm-hmm. But, and then also, you got the 49ers defense. And that is a scary defense to come around with, too. So, I mean, I'm going to give it to the 49ers. I think the curse is still going to be alive and well for the Green Bay Packers. It's just that 49ers offense, I think Joe Barry can't stop it. I don't think he can. I think he's going to do what Joe Barry does. He's probably going to have a defensive lineman try to guard Debo out on the flat.
I'm never going to live this down. I'm never going to live that down, am I? Oh.
No.
And it was Devontae. Like we don't know how good he is. The man played for us for years. Oh, it's embarrassing. And you know, everything you said is correct. It is. They are much more talented on paper. The Niners should whip our ass. Excuse my language. It's not even close. But we were sitting here, and we said the same thing last week. Hey, ain't gonna stop Tony Pollard. They can't stop CeeDee Lamb. It's Joe Barry. Dak Prescott's an MVP candidate this year. We said the same thing, and it happened. Here's the good news about being the youngest team in football. We're so stupid we don't know no better. We don't know. We just go out there and play ball. That's how we beat Dallas. But I will say this. The Packers have lost 4 straight playoff games against the 49ers. I'm looking here. We have not beaten them in the playoffs since 2002 in the wild card round when we had Brett Favre.
Dang, that was like 22 years ago.
Long time ago, yes. We've lost 4 straight times to them in the playoffs by itself. So, Green Bay's the youngest team in football. Before I say this, I will have a moment of silence and appreciation because not only did the Packers make the playoffs, but we eliminated the Cowboys and won a playoff game. So, I'm just appreciating the moment. It's good to be here. We're 2 games from the Super Bowl. That's awesome. But I am going to pick San Francisco to win this game. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl before this preseason started when we were making predictions. People can go fact check us there. I predicted San Fran to win the Super Bowl. I can't be biased. I am rooting for Green Bay to go out there and whoop that ass. But San Francisco's too talented. Christian McCaffrey is the league MVP in my opinion. As a sneak peek, I'll go ahead and say it. Debo, Brandon Ayuk, 1,000-yard receivers, Brock Purdy, Pro Bowl quarterback. Very, very, very good quarterback. Just a step under elite. That defense is amazing. Joey Bosa, I think he'll get a little bit of pressure on Love. I think, though, this. A lot of people think San Francisco's going to thrash Green Bay. I don't. I think Green Bay will actually, I'll say this. Green Bay will be winning at halftime. I do think. I think ultimately San Francisco's battle tested. They're too talented. And the final score will be very close. I think ultimately the game will be 24 San Francisco, Green Bay 20. I think we'll have the ball late. I think Carlson will miss an extra point at some point because he always seems to, which is frustrating. And I think that will come to bite us. I think that'll come to bite us. We'll be down 4 instead of 3 with the ball, and it'll come to bite us. We've had issues with extra points all season. Don't play with fire. Give me the Niners barely. I think Green Bay is going to play a lot better than some people think.
And like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout. And I'm just going to add on to you. I think it's going to be Packers up by 3 at half. And then 49ers just going to come back and win it.
I agree.
And I say they're probably going to be, and there's probably going to be, my score will probably be like 7 or 9.
I truly think this game will go down to the last second. I do. I think Green Bay, Jordan Love is him. He's already won a playoff game in his first year as a starter. That's impressive. not even Aaron Rodgers did that. So Aaron Rodgers went 6-10 in his first year and missed the playoffs. Not only did we make it, we won a playoff game. So don't underestimate my pack. Go ask the Cowboys. But go Pack, go! Still rooting for them. But I can't be biased. San Francisco. So AJ Beagle move on next game. It's the divisional weekend, and I can still do this. Oh, the NFL is crazy. Who do you got, JB? You got Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady Jr., playoff winning quarterback, going to take Tampa Bay to the NFC Championship game, beat the Lions. Or do you have the Detroit Lions, who got their first playoff win in over 30 years? So, congrats to the Lions fans for that. Unfortunately.
Fortunately, it is, but I think we've seen it coming.
I mean, I picked the Rams to win. It was a very good game, 1-point game.
It was a
So,
very good game. Jared,
I picked the Rams, but
yeah, golf did golf things close to the end of the game, so that's kind of where it standed. But I'm going to say this: it's probably going to be just like the Rams and the Lions game. It's going to be a shootout. Because I'm trying to look at everything, and I'm probably going to go with the Lions on this one. Like I said, it's going to be just like the Rams game, back and forth all game, where no one can stop Mike Evans. The Lions couldn't stop Puka Nacua. Like literally, they couldn't stop him at all. So there's going to be just like that. Baker Mayfield is going to keep hitting Mike Evans. And then Amon St. Brown's going to step up, having big plays and everything. But at the very last minute, Goff's going to do his golf things. He's gonna. I want to say he choked, but he overthrew quite a bit of balls that probably should have been caught. But luckily, and then some of those passes were almost picked off. So it was a little scary, for the Lions that game. But I do believe that defense is hungry. Because I mean they played their hearts out. But and David Montgomery, he played good. Yeah, and then Amon St. Brown, 7 catches, 110 yards. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions on this one. It's gonna be just like the Rams game, win by 1.
oh wow, so JB is giving Tampa Bay a lot more credit than some people are. Because a lot of people think this one will be a blowout too. I mean, the Buccaneers kind of upset the Eagles. They did, and not only did they upset the Eagles, they thrashed them 32-9. Baker Mayfield, 22 for 36, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. And it would have been a much bigger blowout had Tampa Bay not had all them big drops. Mike Evans dropped the ball early in the game that would have put him, maybe been a touchdown or put him right at the 1-yard line. So they made mistakes, and they had a lot of drops. Tampa did. So that game could have been much worse than what it actually was. Now, I think Philadelphia sort of quit. They skid the end of the season. They didn't even look like they wanted to be out there. Their body language was horrible.
No.
They weren't playing hard. I don't know if they've given up on Nick Sirianni or not. I don't think Nick Sirianni should have been fired. He had the Eagles in the Super Bowl last year, and let's not act like the Eagles are the worst team in the league. They still made the playoffs. There's much worse places to be than that. So they shouldn't fire Sirianni. Now they kind of watch him next year a little bit. So it's kind of right now, but they shouldn't fire him. But back to Tampa Bay. Could you imagine, JB? Can you imagine? Just imagine this. If Jordan Love goes out there and upsets the Niners, which is possible. He just did it last week. And if Baker Mayfield goes out there and beats the Lions, and the Lions have had some ugly games, they played ugly against the Bears. If Baker Mayfield goes out there and beats Detroit, the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl would be the 7-seed Packers at Tampa Bay Baker Mayfield. Imagine the ratings on that one.
Oh god.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm picking Detroit as are you. I think Detroit, like you said, they're hungry. Yes, Tampa Bay went out there and whooped Philly's butt, but Philadelphia had to give up their body language. This Detroit team is not that way. This Detroit team is feisty. They play physical. Dan Campbell's a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
He could possibly be coach of the year. Man won a playoff game for the Lions. That hasn't happened since before we were born.
Yeah.
So with that, I think the Lions, man, they're going to go to the NFC Championship game. I'm happy for a little bit of their fan base to a point. They went through a lot
Loyal.
of misery. So
Loyal.
very loyal.
Very loyal.
loyal. So out of all of the NFC North teams, I'm glad it's at least you. I'll say that. I think Detroit's too good, man. Jared Goff's playing good football. He went out there and beat the team that traded him in the playoffs. And beat the Lions' old quarterback in Stafford. So that says something on and getting the Lions that playoff win. In front of Eminem, for Christ's sake. So yes. Give me the Lions.
Just remember, Stafford owed Eminem. He owed him.
And he paid through.
Yes, he did.
And with that, me and JB are going to move on to the last game. This is probably the game of the week, the game everyone's talking about. And for good reason. JB, who do you got? It might be different here. It's our last chance. You got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. This time it's in Buffalo. Buffalo! I don't know if you do it this week because of the mood.
Screw Buffalo. Screw them all. I'm picking Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is going to come out there. He's going to sling it. He's going to look like the old Patrick Mahomes. He's going to throw 5 touchdowns. Isaac Pacheco is going to rush in like 5. The Buffalo Bills defense is going to be questionable out of like ever. Josh Allen's going to get hurt. Someone's actually going to clean his clock when he fake slides. And then hopefully the refs actually does a good did really good. Does really good. I heard it's going to be the weather's going to be 20 degrees, so it's not going to be, all that terrible. But I do believe they've been getting a little bit of snow here and there lately. So hopefully Bills fans hope you keep that same attitude that you throw snowballs at the Pittsburgh Steelers players while during mid-play. Hope you do the same thing there. And guess what? You're gonna get chewed out by the refs. You're gonna get kicked out of the game, and you're gonna get unsportsmanlike conduct. So you're gonna give the Buffalo Bills the exact same loss like last year, and I hope it's gonna be a coin flip. And so you can complain about a coin flip. Wow. It's going to be a repeat. Kansas City owns you guys in the playoffs. They do. So, screw off your little fan base. Can shove snowballs up someone else's. So, screw you. And I hope the refs comes around and bites you a new one. So I'm picking Kansas City.
Man, JB speaking with a lot of emotion. There's a lot of passion in that one. I like it. I like it when you get fired up. However, I agree with you. A lot of people picking Buffalo here. They're actually the favorite to win this game.
They were favorite last
I
year
don't
too.
think they will. Well, they always are. That's the thing. Because you look, Josh Allen's actually 3-1 against Pat Mahomes in the regular season. And guess what? He's 0-2 in the playoffs. Until he beats him in the playoffs, I have no reason to think he will. This reminds me of the new generation's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Tom Brady whooped Peyton Manning in the playoffs. That's why he's the GOAT. He spent years and years and years and years beating Peyton Manning in the playoffs. So I don't think it's any different this time. I really don't. Yeah, it's in Buffalo, and I will say this. This is Pat Mahomes' first road playoff game in his career. So I want to see if he can go on the road. We've never seen that before. But if you people don't forget, Kansas City was my pick to lose the Super Bowl against the Niners when the season started. Like I said, we made predictions back in, I think it was like August. So I'm still sticking to that. My prediction's still possible. So with that, I'm picking Kansas City. I said they'd go to the Super Bowl when this season started. I'm sticking to that. You look to see what that defense was able to do against that number 1 rated Miami offense. Chiefs defense, like I said last week, is number 2 in the league. They held Miami, my friend. The mighty Miami offense. 7 points. I told you that's how Kansas City will win games in the playoffs. Defense this year. And I mean, Pat Mahomes looked really good too. I mean, 262 yards, 1 touchdown. Rice had a good game, 130 and a tutty. And Pacheco, 89 rush yards, 1 touchdown. So that Kansas City offense looked a lot better. That defense, though, they stomped Miami's unstoppable offense. But yeah, give me Kansas City in a very, very close game. I trust Pat Mahomes. I don't trust Josh Allen.
And I can't wait till Ladarius Sneed throws Stephon Diggs like a rag doll. I cannot wait to see those highlights.
You were picturing that in your head the whole time, weren't you?
I am. Yes, I am. And I'm going to be loving it. And Chris Jones hitting Josh Allen, hurting his ankle or hurting his throwing arm. You name it. You name it. I mean, he's going to get... I'm saying Josh Allen's going to get sacked 7 times this game. By Chris Jones.
Damn. JB's going hard at it. Man, he's spitting. I never seen you fired up in a long time. Long time.
Well, it's just the way that the refs and how the fans throwing snowballs at players during mid play. I mean,
not very classy.
That's very unclassy. I mean, for all of the stuff that the Bills organization and the fan base did, whatever they did in the past, I mean that is just horrible. It's just horrible how it came to that. And the refs were just being retarded. I'm sorry for some people that hates that R word, but they're literally retarded. Like literally, an infant could probably ref better than what they did. My mom could do something better than what they can. Anybody's mom's that's brain deaf or playing football, they probably don't even know how to like do anything. They could ref better than what they did. Like, I mean, it's... Swifties can't even ref better than what they can.
Well, JB's rooting for the Swifties. JB's rooting for the Swifties this weekend.
Yep.
And their man, Travis Kelce. So with that, we will see what happens in the divisional weekend. JB spitting facts. Hey, the most offensive things in the world are often the truth. That's why it's the unbiased hard take. So with that, JB, we've now predicted the divisional round weekend. We'll see. Next week will be... I can't believe we're already in the... Next week will be conference championships. My God. But me and JB are going to go into our subtopics here. So JB, first subtopic is... The Cowboys announced that they are keeping Mike McCarthy as their coach, and the Steelers also announced that Mike Tomlin will return as well. What do you think of these 2 moves? With an extension. What do you think of these 2 moves? Because both these coaches have gotten a lot of heat recently, so especially Mike McCarthy. So do you think it's the right move or not, JB?
The
floor is yours.
For the Mike McCarthy staying, I think he should leave. Like Skip Bayless said, Dak and Mike McCarthy are not the guys for that organization. I mean, clearly. I mean, what has Dak done at the first game or coming into the playoffs? Like, congratulations. You're the next Tony Romo. I mean, literally, like what has they done? I'm like, yes, it's the regular season. Yes, whoop de doo. You had a really, fantastic season. But what have you done? What has Mike McCarthy's record in the playoffs? He was only won one Super Bowl, and that was with Aaron Rodgers. 100 times better than what Dak does. And then you have that amazing Packers defense is better than the Dallas Cowboys defense. So, I mean, he has the tools.
Yeah.
I'm saying that does have the tools. But I don't know if him and his morale for that or for that Cowboys organization. I don't know, but it's not the standard. I can tell you that much. I mean, it's not.
Not in Dallas.
It's not America's team. Even frankly, they weren't even meant to be the Dallas Cowboys or the America's team because technically the Pittsburgh Steelers was supposed to be the America's team because the Steelers kept winning Super Bowls during that era when they were called the America's team. So technically, they're not America's team. They were secondly chosen because the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Art Rooney, said, no, we are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We ain't no America's team. No, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you know what? So congratulations. You got that title handed down to you from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you know what? Good job, Dallas Cowboys organization. But I think it's a stupid.
You know how I feel.
Yes, but that's
Green Bay.
It's Super Bowl era. Pre Super Bowl era. I'm giving it to you, full 100%.
13-time champions. 13-time champions. Most ever.
But now they're doing pre Super Bowl and post Super Bowl. So, but through the post Super Bowl, I mean, look at us. 6.
That's fair.
So
I don't look at it. I look at it as I don't like the pre Super Bowl stuff. I like all of it. But
everyone is now claiming.
I know.
Because one, it was a different era. There was not too many teams that year or during your guys' era of dominance. And it's like there was like too many teams that was merging together, like the Pittsburgh Steelers were back in the day. I think we were merging with the Arizona or something. Or Philadelphia. I don't even remember. It was
Philadelphia.
It was Philadelphia. So we're two teams were merging, a few teams were merging here and there, and it was just a big cluster back in the day. So
the foundation of the league. Curly Lambeau had a lot of success back then.
Yeah, and that's why he was the Vince Lombardi. Because, anyways, Mike McCarthy should have been gone. It should be gone. And Dak, I don't want to say he should be gone too, but he should be gone. He should be gone as well. Because what the foundation that they got prior and to now, it's not Cowboys football. It's just the same way as Steelers football. We're not playing as Steelers standards. Until we start playing Steelers standards, is the exact same way how Dallas Cowboys should be playing. Winning championships. And they haven't even done that. When was the last time that they actually won went to the NFC championship? That was back in Super Bowl
95, I believe.
They went to it was the Tony Romo fumble or muffled extra point to win. I think it was with the game. Was it?
against the Seahawks.
Oh, I thought it was a championship.
That was a wild card. It was early in Romo's career.
Oh, I
Yep,
thought it was.
95. Yep, 95 when Dallas beat Green Bay. Yeah, 95.
That was when VHS were still around. But I think they should have let him go. They should start fresh. Cowboys should start fresh, and then with the going with the Mike Tomlin, I think it is a good move. A lot of players love Tomlin. They do. Just like TJ Watt said, I will only play for Mike Tomlin. And I do believe he does mean that. If we got a different coach, TJ Watt will be gone. 100%. He's going to go where he goes. So I like Tomlin. Yes, even though he hasn't had a non-losing season. If he had losing seasons like this year, if we didn't have a winning season, I think he would have been gone. But he hasn't. So I want him to stay. I think we have a good core young people that I do believe we are just a quarterback shy in healthiness, because our linebackers and our DBs were struggling of health. So I think if we just keep the health steady, and hopefully we get I don't want to say I hope we get a quarterback either in the draft or in the offseason. We're trying to get a veteran quarterback, because some people said Kirk Cousins, if he's on the Steelers with the young talent that we have, I mean, we could have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, better offense, yeah, but a quarterback in his mid to late 30s coming off of a season-ending injury, who in the past has had a lot of playoff failure himself. I don't like that one. I think
Me,
Russell makes a lot more sense if he would restructure his contract. That's the question.
yeah,
Put him on the team-wise. Russell Wilson's a good fit for Pittsburgh. However, money-wise, that's a little different. It's
yeah,
not fantasy football, but I think Russ would be a decent one.
yeah. So I think we need going back to having a veteran quarterback. Yes, I do like Kenny Pickett still, unless he starts screwing up like Mitch Trubisky has been. I'm glad he's going to be off the team next year. I am going to be glad. I swear I will have a panic attack if we keep him again.
Mitch Berg.
The way that I hope he dies. I hope his career dies. And I hope he doesn't die in real life. I hope his career in the NFL just be gone. Just gone. I hope he's a third string on any other team. I hope he's just, he disappears. The way that he played against the Patriots, the Cardinals, and the Colts. Those three that we should have won. It's all because of you, Mitch Trubisky. So I will have a panic attack if I see a headline that says breaking news: Mitch Trubisky signed another 8-year, 1-year deal. I will be livid. I will be extremely, extremely livid. So I hope he's gone. I hope his NFL career dies, and hopefully he does go to a grocery store or something. Does like a exact opposite of what Kurt Warner did.
Yeah, man, it's been a fun podcast. You got JB making fun, going on his rant about the Bills, and you got JB wishing death now at this point. So it's been a fun podcast. But I will start with Mike Tomlin. I will start with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, I absolutely love it. When Pittsburgh was losing those games with the Cardinals and the Colts and whatnot, not the Colts, excuse me. They not the Colts, but the Cardinals and New England games. So you look when they were losing those games, I defended Mike Tomlin. I mean, I have the stats right here: 17 straight non-losing seasons. We've never seen anything like that. Mike Tomlin's a Super Bowl champion. He's done it before. People forget that. Now it's been a while. It's been a long time. 2008. It's been a long time since Pittsburgh hosted the Lombardi.
I'm gonna say this though. The one time that he won the Super Bowl was the one that Bill Cowher made, and that was the last stretch of everyone being at the end of their career. So that's
And that's
I'm
fair.
I'm
That's
gonna say
fair.
at that point, I think we just we need to go back to that foundation, and I think Okor is a good man to bring back that culture and that standard and bring it back to the Pittsburgh Steelers standards of actually winning championships, because I do believe we have a good team, and we did really good after the Matt Canada fired, and I am 100% glad that he's gone. I don't even care if he's coaching an elementary school. They probably have a losing record if he's coaching. I don't even care where he's at. I don't even want to see a headline of where he's at.
And they took too long to fire him. That's
Exactly.
Pittsburgh's
They
loyalty.
and that's the thing. That's
Pittsburgh's
the one
loyalty.
thing that frustrates me so bad is the loyalty in our coach in the coaching staff, because we never fire anybody
Yeah.
during midseason and during the coaching. And
Oh, I feel your
the
pain.
one time that we should have fired him at the beginning of this season. Yes, we had an amazing preseason with him. We were doing everything. Like it was like we were having fun. We were playing backyard football. We were. Laterals, like literally everything. It's like the offense was like clicking. And hopefully I was hoping it was gonna just transfer over to the regular season. But no. Matt Canada decided just to screens, run, screen, run. It's like,
I mean, and you're right. That's the one thing with Pittsburgh and Green Bay too that's frustrating. It's a good thing because they're not a clown show. They're consistent. You know what you get every day. And that's the thing with Mike Tomlin. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get at least a competitive football team. I'm. He doesn't get enough credit to be a defensive coach and start 3 different quarterbacks. Kevin Stefanski for the Browns is getting all the love in the world for starting multiple quarterbacks throughout the season. But Mike Tomlin's getting hate. Mike Tomlin had a double-digit winning season this year. They made the playoffs, and he was getting hate during the season when they were a good football team, double-digit winning. I mean, you look, yeah, and I will say this: Pittsburgh's lost their last 5 playoff games. Mike Tomlin is 8-10 in the playoffs. Not good enough. It's not good enough.
nope.
He needs to perform in the playoffs. They're a quarterback away, in my opinion. George Pickens is a great player, 1,000-yard receiver. You have Najee Harris in the backfield. He's an 1,000-yard back multiple years now. Good
Jalen
defense. T.J.
Warren,
Watt, defensive,
I
right?
think it's a
Defensive player of the
halfback
year.
duo, one of the greatest halfback
Y'all,
duos in the league. I mean, better than
oh,
to me, in my opinion, the way they played this year is the best running back duo in the league. Better than AJ
you could
Dillon
argue
and
that.
Aaron Jones at that point. So
I would say this season, yeah, because Aaron
yeah,
Jones had so many injuries. But
and AJ Dillon.
that's the thing, right? And he's had injuries too. But Aaron Jones is playing right when it matters. But anyways, back to Pittsburgh. It's just they're not doing good enough in the playoffs. They're not doing good enough in the playoffs. They need to pick it up. There should be a little pressure on Mike Tomlin. He shouldn't have a nice, comfy seat. They need to perform better when it matters. Because I mean, you look, he's lost his last 5 playoff games. How's it any different than Mike McCarthy at this point? Yeah, like you said, Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. But Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl more recently than Mike Tomlin has. 2010 for Green Bay, 08 for Pittsburgh. So to me, it's the same thing. And I'll transfer that over. I don't think Mike McCarthy should be fired either. Here's the good part about consistent teams. The Cowboys, they never really fire coaches unless it's multiple seasons. Pittsburgh never fires anybody, and Green Bay never fires anyone either. All three of those teams are always relevant. Always. You don't want to be Carolina, who fires people left and right. It's a clown show. You don't know who's really running the organization. So I think firing McCarthy is too harsh. I mean, you look, Dak Prescott had his best year as a pro, 69.5% completion percentage, 4,516 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 105.9 QBR. McCarthy has a 42-25 record for being the Cowboys coach, not including his Green Bay times. Similar to Mike Tomlin, McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. He's proven he can do it before, and he actually won the Super Bowl in AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Fun fact. So, but he's 1-3 in the playoffs as a Cowboys head coach. Because you're the Cowboys coach, you get a lot of spotlight and a lot of hate. It's no different here. Dak Prescott said it himself. If McCarthy needs to go, I do too. Because Dak had his best year as a pro. He did. The Cowboys, a lot of people thought were a Super Bowl contender. They won their division against Philadelphia. I don't think he should be fired. I think one more year. If they lose their first game in the playoff next year, you got to go. At that point, you got to go. One more year. They have plenty of talent. Who are you going to find right now that'll help you next season better than Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy? You're not. There's no one out there. What are you going to do? Risk yourself on a rookie quarterback maybe being good? There's nowhere else to go for them. They have to run it back. I think it's a good move bringing both coaches back.
All right.
And with that, me and JB talked a lot of football these last few weeks, and it's a beautiful thing. But with football winding down, me and JB are going to reincorporate the NBA back into the world of things. And this is more of a freestyle topic, JB, like we talked about right before this podcast started. So, JB, what's one topic NBA wide that you want to discuss? Your floor is yours, my friend.
I'm going to talk about the Indiana Pacers getting Pascal Siakam. The trade that I never would have seen the Toronto would do. But they did. They literally did. And when I seen that, I was shocked. Literally shocked. And talking about the trade, the Pacers received Pascal Siakam, a 2024 second round pick via Pelicans. The Raptors receive Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, Kiera Lewis Jr., 2024 first round pick via Pacers, 2024 first round pick, lesser of picks from the Jazz, Clippers, Rockets, Thunder, and a 2026 first round pick via Pacers projected 1-4. And the Pelicans received a cash considerations. So, I mean, the Raptors got, some good picks out of it, especially Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown has, excuse me, has a good year so far. He's averaged 29 minutes, 12 points, almost 50% field goal percentage, was at a 48.1. Rebounds is 4.7, and assist is 3. So that you got a really good guard. Or my fault. He's a small forward. So he's really good. Really good scrapper. And then Jordan Nwora. Never really heard of him. But I'm going to talk about his stats, though. He played 10 minutes. He had 5.2 points per game, averaging 45.1 field goal percentage, 1.8 rebounds, and 1 assist a game. and he is a shooting guard, but not that likely of a player. Does rap really good. And then you got Kiara Lewis Jr., where he has less playing time. He had 9.6 minutes, 2.9 points a game, 30% field goal percentage, 0.9 rebounds, and 1.2 assists. So out of all of those players, Bruce Brown is the best option you guys would have gotten. So good job on that. And then Pacers actually is looking really good with their starting five. Is actually it's quite scary, honestly. Adding Siakam to the mix of everything. So yeah, it's the Eastern Conference is actually looking kind of scary, honestly. I don't know if it's going to be if they're going to come up in the mix or what. Because right now they're 24-17. They're 7th overall, or they're 7th in the Eastern. And then you got the Miami Heat right behind them, or they're right behind Miami Heat with their 6. So it's neck and neck for us. And they are tied in the we're tied in overalls because we're also 24-17. So it's the Eastern Conference is kind of looking pretty scary right now. So
Well, it's wide open. That's the thing.
exactly.
Miami's a title contender. Milwaukee's a title contender. Philadelphia is always really, really good. They seem to blow it in the playoffs, though. And of course, Boston, obviously. Cleveland's also up there, too. So the Eastern Conference is really fun. And
Yeah.
and speaking of that trade, I mean, Indiana's a basketball state. The Pacers want to be competitive. I think they gave up too many first round picks. But, you already have Tyrese Halliburton. He's an all-star. I've
Mm-hmm.
watched him play before. He had a double-double when me and you went and watched him play. He's an all-star player. Then you add Pascal, who's a two-time NBA all-star. He's the NBA most improved player at one point. He's made a couple second teams and third teams. And he's an NBA champion in 2019 with the Raptors. And he was a legit player for them. So, he's no scrub. He's a good second star. He's won a championship before. I think Indiana won this trade. They gave up quite a bit of first-round picks, but they got a second star beside Tyrese Halliburton. So let's
Mm-hmm.
see if they make a playoff push. They want to stay relevant. I know they do. It's a basketball state. You want to at least make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, one thing I'm going to talk about in the NBA is I've looked at a lot of things. There's a lot of things to talk about, but the Los Angeles Clippers are the one thing I am going to talk about, and here's why. Kawhi Leonard recently is like the load management king. The Clippers always seem to underperform. This, that, and the other. They're always load managing. Paul George's always hurt. You look this year, ever since I didn't think the James Harden trade was a good thing. James Harden's kind of a prickly, kind of hard to get along with, hard to coach. Disappoints in the playoffs always. But you look this year, the Clippers are playing outstanding ball since trading for him. I have the stats right here. I'll read them off for you. They are since the James Harden trade, they have a record of 23-12. They were struggling, if you remember, when they got James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're 23-12 with him. Harden 16.9 points a game, 4.6 rebounds, 8.4 assists. Kawhi Leonard, a lot of load management in his career with the Clippers, right? Well, there's been 40 games played. He's played 36 of them. And he's averaging 23.8 points, 6.1 rebounds, 3.6 assists. Paul George, a lot of injuries, right? Well, he's played 38 of the 40 games and is averaging 23.9 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.7 assists. Here's the kicker. Russell Westbrook is playing very good ball coming off of the bench. He's accepted a bench role, he's being a team player, and he's coming off the bench at 10.9 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, 4.7 assists. So he's a really good spark off the bench when the starters need rest at this stage in his career. So they're playing really, really good basketball. And the Clippers right now, I mean, the season ends today. They're in the playoffs. They don't even got to play in the play-in. They're in the playoffs. They're
Mm-hmm.
right now the better team in LA. They have a better record than the Lakers do. So could this finally be the year the Clippers finally break through in the playoffs? I mean, this keeps up. Kawhi doesn't do load management. They stay healthy. And James Harden continues to be a good teammate doing what he's doing. Because I've watched some Clippers games. He's passing the ball very well. Like I said, 8.4 assists a game. He's being a legit point guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this possibly could be maybe the year that the Clippers finally break through. It's now or never. Paul George isn't going to be in his prime much longer. Kawhi isn't the same with him, but Kawhi's led 2 different teams to championships. Paul George has been a playoff player his whole career. Russell Westbrook's played in the finals. So has James Harden
Mm-hmm.
with the Thunder back in the day. So they have plenty of talent. It's about bringing it together, staying healthy. And right now, they're absolutely doing that. I think maybe is this the year? Do you think it's possible? The
I
Clippers,
think it's
maybe.
possible. I mean, if they actually keep it up and actually play all the or games, and yes, injuries do happen time here and there. Um, but yeah, I do believe that the Clippers has a great team to actually go all the way and actually win it. They have the talent. Um, they have multiple players that can go 30 plus points a game,
Mhm.
or frankly, all of them can get 30 plus points a game in one game, possibly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can happen. I mean,
I mean, they're
they're they're they're a great. Finally, Westbrook is actually being a team player. He doesn't want to have the ball in his hands all the time. He actually has her doing a team. Uh, he's actually being a team member. James Harden is actually passing the ball and not shooting 50 shots a game and only making 12. And Paul, like you said, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're not going to be in their primes for long. Um, I mean, it's like it's now or never for them to. I mean, it's either win championships or not. So I mean, it's now or never for them, for Paul George and um, Kawhi.
I absolutely agree. And you look, the Clippers are only 1 game worse in the Western Conference standings than the defending champion Nuggets. There's a 1 game difference. The Nuggets are 2.5 games back from the 1 seed, and the Clippers are 3.5 games back. So a very tight race in the West as well. So me and JB will be picking up a lot of NBA basketball coming up. NFL will be ending soon, but do not fear, basketball is here. However, me and JB are going to switch over to the world of college football. And yes, while college football has ended, moves and news has not. So, a lot of news. The greatest college coach of all time, I will say that, Nick Saban, finally retired from Alabama. And this is a glorious day for me because I hate Alabama and I hate the SEC. So, JB, it's a different world in college football now. With Nick Saban retiring, and the 12-team playoff format coming out. You got players getting paid. You have the transfer portal, NIL, all that stuff. JB, with Nick Saban retiring and the Alabama Crimson Tide hiring Washington's former coach, what do you think? Think their dominance will continue, or do you think they're going to falter a little bit and fall out of relevance? JB, our last topic. What do you got?
I do believe that the Alabama are still gonna is gonna be dominant because you got all of them scouts still. I don't think their scouts hasn't even left. So the Alabama is top tier when it comes to scouting. So that there's that. And then you got the Washington's head or ex-head coach is now Alabama's head coach. And then they, even though yes, they did flop the bed when it came to the college championship. So yes, he did flop the bed, but I do believe it was the team effort that kind of screwed up there in that sense. And I guess they just wanted Michigan to win the game. I guess I don't know. I hate Michigan. I hate their fan base. They're annoying. I'd rather be Roll Tide than Go Blue. Just the Michigan is just annoying. But yeah, I do believe they're it's still going to be dominant. Even though with the Washington's head coach or ex-head coach, he's still a good coach because he took the team that we never thought that they were gonna go to the college championship. So yeah, there's that. So he's one heck of a coach. Then you got those scouts behind him, getting all these bright young players coming around. So even though yes, it's probably gonna drop down some of the for these young kids coming up and picking or trying to pick for a team because everyone wanted to play for Nick Saban. But since he retired, I think it's gonna drastically just a little bit. But if everyone's smart, they want to go where the money's at, and I do believe it is Alabama still has all that money. And I mean, look at what the legacy came through. So I think Alabama's still going to be a force to be reckoned with still.
You know, I agree, but slightly disagree with you. I think Alabama's still going to have winning records. They're still going to have good teams, this, that, and the other. Because, I mean, you look, they hired Kalen DeBoer from Washington. He was 25-3 in 2 years at Washington and made the college football championship, and they lost to Michigan. So you look, I mean, you said, he's a winning coach. He's proven he can do it before. Here's what I worry about, is those players wanting to play for Saban. You look, Alabama's had 25 players enter the transfer portal. 25 of your talented players leaving your school because Saban retired. I'm sure some of them is not because of that, but you know a lot of them are. Mm-hmm. So you look, and the SEC is a monster. It is a monster. As you look, they have to play Georgia next year. Georgia's going to be good. You know they are. LSU. Ooh. They were ranked last year. LSU has a really good team. And then Tennessee. Tennessee has a really, really good football program as well. So those are 3 games they got to play that are possibly losses. And now Nick Saban and 25 players who transferred aren't there to help you.
Well, one of them is not in the transfer portal anymore because Alabama safety, Caleb Downs, commits to Ohio State.
Exactly. So Alabama is losing players. They lost their legendary coach. I think they'll still be a competitive team and have a winning record, but don't expect them to win the college championship nearly as much. They ain't won one in 3 years. Like I said, they got to play Tennessee next year, LSU, who was amazing this year, in Georgia. So SEC's hard. They just lost their coach and a lot of players. I think Alabama is going to take a step back. They'll still be good. They'll still be competitive, but don't expect them to be winning championships every year anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's why that's when I said is like the tool or the picks are gonna go or young kids are gonna pick Alabama a little bit less now because of Saban leaving because everyone wants to play for Nick Saban. So it's gonna take probably 10 times harder for them for the scouts and the coaches or like the coaching staff is going to try to get these young kids into that organization. So it's
mean, they
it's
hired-
going to be hard, 10 times harder
is.
than what Nick Saban, because he couldn't just go into any high school. He's like, I want you. They were like, okay. So it's going to be
Yeah.
a little bit harder now, but I do believe that they still have the passion in there. So
I mean, you're absolutely right, because you look for the board's total stats. He's 104 and 12 overall as a coach in college, all levels included, in 2-1 in bowl games. So he has a winning track record. They definitely hired a good successor. That's why I think they'll still be very competitive. I do think their days of rolling teams and winning every game and being number one in the nation all the time, I think those days are over.
yeah,
And that makes me so happy.
roll tide.
But ain't rolling nowhere. We're about ready to roll out of here though, because that's all the time we have for today's Unbiased Hard Take. I couldn't have transitioned any better into that. So with that, JB, anything else you want to talk about?
Bill fans, you suck. Bill's organization, you suck. Mitch Trubisky, I hope you're out of Pittsburgh, and I'm pretty sure 100% that you are. Go Kansas City. Thrash the Bills. Yeah, like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And yeah, that is all I have.
And I'll add, hit the bell. Check out the sports fact today. We do it every single day. So again, like JB said, like us, give us support. Tell us what we can do better, what we can incorporate. We welcome constructive criticism. So with that, Packers play this weekend. It's divisional weekend. I know I have San Francisco, but go Pack, go! I'm rooting for us. Let's go out there. Let's surprise people. I'm excited. I'm excited as a Packers fan. One game from the NFC Championship game. Let's go prove Dad was wrong. That's all I have. Until next week, go Pack, go! Let's go Heat. Boiler up, baby.
And yeah, I'll end on that. Like I keep saying, Buffalo Bills, you suck. Fan base, you suck. Mr. Trubisky, hope you're gone. Let's go, even though they're out of the playoffs, but let's go Steelers. Let's go Heat. And let's boiler up, baby. Let's go. See you next week.
See you next week.